Schools program is a campus-run sort of nonprofit, and we focus on sending University of Chicago students to a number of community organizations or institutions, primarily elementary schools and high schools.
We have two great resources here, our student body and our faculty. So we start thinking about ways of introducing these two great resources to the neighborhood public schools.
It really is a supportive mechanism to help out and give special attention to school children. What we try to do is learn about the students' interests initially and then really try to connect their interests to actual needs that are in the schools.
Our Chicago Public School, University of Chicago Internet project allows University of Chicago students to help support the technology environment in public schools. We have a number of students who work in municipal elective offices for aldermen, for state representatives, for state senators, helping to support the families and students of our local communities.
My left shoe goes on my left foot. Man, you got a lot of knots in these shoes.
I think probably the strongest thing for the Neighborhood Schools program is that it reminds you that people are people no matter who they are or where they are or what their past is and where they're headed. And I think at the university you can sometimes lose sight of that.
Our particular mission here is to work with women recovering from substance abuse, and they are invited to bring their children with them. Our neighborhood school program has been really a shot in the arm for us. They help in our preschool, they help with tutoring with the children, and they especially help tutoring women who are trying to get their GED.
So it's just a really great real-world experience to remind you of what the world is like, other places besides Hyde Park, and how policy impacts people.
My specialty is a bit obscure. I work on the dust and gas between the stars. My wife says I work on next to nothing. CUIP started when a particular teacher decided that his teaching would be better if he could have access to the internet and his knowledge. He happened to be a physics teacher. It was completely by accident that he found me. So then we advertised it, we let people know about it and so forth. And in fact, a lot of teachers stepped forward and said, yeah, we'd like to have this. So then we got the grants, and then we have some contact with about 25 schools.
That's what we take it off over there.
Our students end up doing a lot more than just keeping the machines running. They work with the principals and assistant principals to think about, hey, what new equipment do we need? They learn a lot about technology that they didn't know, and they're able to help the schools learn a lot.
The hours are flexible. The pay is well above average. Being at this job is not just about fixing computers, but seeing how teachers interact with students and how they interact with each other. So like the kids help cheer you up.
We have tutors from the Neighborhood Schools program who provide support all through the school. Tutors work after school with students who need assistance. Tutors work with teachers in their classrooms. Well, I kind of want to go into math. I want to do business. I want to do international business. So I come up here to get help, particularly for trig from the UFC tutorers, like before quizzes or something like that.
Most times with our tutors, it's a very eye-opening experience because most of them have not worked in an urban environment. So some of the preconceived notions that they've had about our students are usually disproved when they come in and help the students, which is really good.
I really enjoy coming here because the kids are open and they're always willing to learn, and they don't have any trouble saying, I have no idea how to do this. I'm definitely interested in education. I've always been, and teaching has sort of been a little passion of mine. But you never know. I mean, like I said, my education in high school was not, it didn't seem extravagant at the time. It didn't seem like, you know, I paid $1 million to go to my school. That's what college, I guess, is for. But at the same time, it's quite different from here. I mean, here, the first day I got here, there were like security guards and the whole campus is inside and you have to wear your ID every day. My high school was nothing like that.
The tutors from the Neighborhood Schools program have a group of students that they work with that have been identified by the teacher for specific skills. They are part of our school community. They're in the hallways, and they not only just tend to their classroom, but in general, just wherever they see a need, then they step in. The students love the tutors. They love the extra attention that they get.
I guess it's because I'm from the Chicago public schools. So I've been in the Chicago public school system. And I know I actually feel
be sympathetic more with my teachers and with some of the teachers I work with over the years. It's one thing to like know what is said to be going on. There's another thing to actually see it, to actually experience it. And that's actually what you get from the neighborhood school program. So you get your own truth and you get to develop your own opinion. You get to develop how you think you can change or what you think could be done better.
I think regardless of where you come from, if you're attending the University of Chicago, working in an alderman's office gives you a sense of the sort of nitty-gritty way in which big city government functions. And I think that's illuminating not just for political science majors, but anybody who's interested in urban affairs and government.
Normally I just help out with constituents and write letters and pretty much help out with anything in the office that needs to be done, whether it's typing letters or replying to emails. And I want to eventually go to law school after completing my bachelor's degree. You get to deal with a lot of policy stuff, so reading through that really helps you out because you learn like how rules and guidelines are formed and also how legislation is passed.
I'm philosophy, just about to graduate.
Philosophy? What is a philosophy?
That's a good question. I don't even know. Well, most of the time I just try to get everybody doing something, and it's really hard because you have 4 or 5 people at once, and you have to pay attention to all of them at once. It's kind of hard.
I want to go into conservation and development biology and community development. So working in a center that's dedicated in part to developing its community members is a good stepping stone. As soon as you start building relationships with the kids, it becomes a really welcoming place for you to go as a tutor, as a place for you as a person off of the U of C campus.
There are not a lot of programs such as the one that we have, and I'm honored that we're doing this work, but I'm also a little bit saddened by the fact that the need is so great, but there are so few organizations that have the resources to even do something of this nature.
And it takes a lot of energy, but it's well spent, I think. It's pretty rewarding.
The schools recognize the commitment that these students are making. When they see that these students are serious about it, they really welcome the students in with open arms.
NSP challenges you to do something beyond your straightforward education and to think beyond yourself, and I think that's the most valuable thing you gain from it, is thinking for someone else and acting for someone else's benefit.